the voyages to strange and distant lands, port of calls visited that others can only dream about, we would also speak of those shipmates left behind. The boatswain would stand tall beside boys. The crew was called to attention. The retiree would step to the quarterdeck, salute the commanding officer, and request permission to go ashore. Permission granted, the retiree would step onto the platform and salute the flag he has served. As the side boys lowered away to the boatswain's call, as the jolly boat pulled away from the side, the ship's gunner would fire a final salute from its main battery. The retiree would be seated astern seats of the jolly boat going ashore. The 1700s saw the United States Navy set sail. They set sail with the idea and goals that they would be the best Navy in the world. They also had desires to build traditions that would stand the test of time. The United States Navy was the first Navy to provide honors to its enlisted crew members. In the early 1800s, the enlisted men were holding retirements for their enlisted shipmates. After the Civil War, the commanding officer began to take part in these retirements to show that he and the Navy recognized the contributions made by the enlisted men. But now we are in a new Navy. We have given most of the pomp and circumstance up, the honors, traditions, and ceremonies back to history. Our computerized world does not give us the time or the reason for those rituals of the past. But still today, we heave to, stop all engines, lay about smartly, drop the anchor, and stand by to pay honor to one of our shipmates, a shipmate going ashore. To honor those years served, guidance, leadership, expertise, above all, the friendship that this shipmate has given us the past 30 years. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Commanding Officer, officers and crew of Fleet Training Center, San Diego, welcome to the retirement ceremony for Master Chief Fire Controlman, Surface Warfare, John Chadwick. Will the guests please rise for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the playing of the national anthem and the invocation. Ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem. Chaplain Wilson will now deliver the invocation.
Let us pray. O Lord, it is another fine Navy day, and we are again thankful for it. But especially today, we pause as family, friends, and fellow shipmates of Master Chief Fire Controlman, Surface Warfare, John Richard Chadwick, to celebrate and give thanks for his 30 years of faithful and dedicated service to the United States Navy. Service which has meant countless sacrifices, most of which have been long separations from home and family. We rejoice then, O Lord, with Master Chief Chadwick, his wife Gloria, and 3 children, Thomas, John, and Eva Maria, on this very special day of retirement, applauding him for a job well done. And we pray for thy blessings upon his future years. O Lord, as this chapter of Master Chief Chadwick's life comes to a close, may a new and even more fulfilling one be open to him. May the future be a time of peace and joy, filled with the love and presence of family and dear friends. Bless Master Chief Chadwick, O Lord, and bless his family. Bless their home, keeping them in your tender care today and always. As we pray these things in thy holy name. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain. Will the guests please be seated? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today we have the distinct pleasure of retiring one of our own, Master Chief Chadwick, whose long and impressive career started 30 years ago. Accompanying him this morning are his wife, Gloria, sons, Thomas and John, and daughter, Eva Maria. I am Chief Warrant Officer Terrell, the Master of Ceremonies. I've known Master Chief for 7 months now, but in actuality, I've known him much longer than that. We've always said that the Navy is a small Navy. You meet shipmates at different times throughout your careers. And it just so happens 15 years ago, I was stationed with Master Chief at Mare Island, going to school. I was a young second class, and he was there as an instructor teaching. I'm sure we passed many times in the passageway, but didn't really introduce each other. And now, 15 years later, here I am, having the distinct pleasure of being a Master of Ceremony at his retirement. So it really is a small Navy. And I want to thank Master Chief for allowing me this honor. Thank you. Now it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you Commander Frodenson, Executive Officer, Fleet Training Center, San Diego.
Good morning. Today we gather to acknowledge the loyal and dedicated service and celebrate the retirement of Master Chief John Chadwick from the United States Navy. We will recognize him for 30 years of military service and contributions which he and his charming bride Gloria have made to our Navy and its community. In addition to the immediate family that were introduced by Warrant Officer Terrell, he also has with him his mother-in-law, Eva Maria, and Gloria's aunt and uncle from Germany, other friends and family and relatives have all come down, and he was telling me that the Navy Lodge is full this weekend from Chadwick's. Gloria, I have to congratulate you on putting up with John for the last 29 years. You have to be a very patient woman to have listened to his untold number of long, drawn-out explanations on every subject. Okay, we're gathered here today to participate in Navy tradition that has taken place in some form or another for as long as the service has been in existence. This tradition recognizes service and dedication in the United States Navy and one of its members. It is a formal ceremony, but it is not meant to be a solemn occasion as if it were a funeral. Instead, it's meant to be a celebration of a full and rewarding career and to mark a transition to another. The Navy is rich in history and tradition. It's been around for over 200 years, and by virtue of your presence here today, you are participating in helping continue our tradition. Part of the retirement ceremony is to describe where the honoree has served, his accomplishments, and his most recent assignment. After I conclude my speech, you will have an opportunity to hear a letter outlining Master Chief Chadwick's dedicated 30-year career, which started on the 12th of September, 1968, when he enlisted at Armed Forces Entrance Examination Station, Los Angeles. I'll combine myself the last 2 tours, here at Fleet Training Center and his previous tour at a Float Training Group Pacific. I first met Master Chief Chadwick when I was assigned to a Float Training Group Pacific. He was already there, and he'd already been there from previous command which was one of the ones that was combined to make up the large float training group. I see in the audience we have several other people here who were also at Float Training Group Pacific at that time. We never really crossed paths when we were in our old buildings because he was pretty much confined to a building here on 32nd Street Naval Station, and I was over at the Fleet ASW Center in one of the old buildings over there, until we moved into our new headquarters. And I kind of mean new lead, is a quote. The building wasn't really new, but the offices were kind of rehabilitated. The thing actually used to be the old Naval Station brig. So we had a great time in the brig together, Master Chief. Of course, being a combat systems geek, the Master Chief was down on the first deck in what used to be a large courtyard. And they had all kinds of nice air conditioning and everything. The engineers, which I was the chief engineer there, we got stuck up on a second deck in the unair-conditioned spaces. It seems like all you have to do is tell Public Works that you have combat systems computers, and they'll do everything possible to make sure that they air condition that part of the building. Of course, nobody bothered to tell them that it was just combat systems administrative computers, and there weren't really any combat systems equipment in that space. Knowing Master Chief Chadwick and the things I saw him get involved in when he was at the Float Training Group, he probably had a little bit to do with convincing them that was combat systems gear that had to be air conditioned. Because I'm sure that he was part of the planning process for getting that building remodeled to be able to suit houses. Of course, then Master Chief left, and I finished up my tour there, came here as executive officer, and next thing I know, I'm getting a tour of one of the new buildings that's being built here, and there is Master Chief Chadwick, again, giving me a tour of this building along with Master Chief Thompson. The new building was actually being built to house schools that were transferring to us from Naval Training Center San Diego. It was closing as part of the base realignment commission process. Master Chief Chadwick worked in the transition office from the groundbreaking to the final acceptance and dedication of the Robert R. Scott Training Facility. As a member of the transition office, he capably coordinated the moves of all courses to transfer to us, paying off all issues and problems at the lowest level. Actually, I never heard that there were any problems. It wasn't until about 6 months ago that I heard there was this issue, there was that issue, and everything else. And the two Master Chiefs that we had working in that office basically took care of all that stuff without it ever coming up to the command level. The seamless transition is a testimony of Master Chief Chadwick's talents. He subsequently transferred to Weapons Department, where he worked with and eventually relieved Warrant Officer Lyerly as the VLS Harpoon Division Officer. I see him back in the back of the room here, erasing us with his attendance. Of course, where Master Chief Chadwick had got the most face time with myself was as the Barracks Liaison Officer. I'm not sure exactly when that title in collateral duty came into existence, but he told me that was his job. He had taken that thing on. Now, when I first got here, Amber Hall reminded me of the fraternity house that was depicted in the movie Animal House. There were parties every weekend, drunken brawls, people throwing stuff out of windows, buffers going out the third deck and landing on the ground outside, and a call. It seemed like every week we were getting a call from the naval station saying, well, your guys broke this and your guys broke that over the weekend, and we want you to pay for it because you're responsible for all the damage you people are causing. Well, it became very clear that it was time to get on top of the problem, and we had to get control of the asylum back from the inmates. So, together with Master Chief Chadwick and myself, we came up with some things to do that. Master Chief Chadwick took on the challenge. We placed a limited duty chief in the barracks on a full-time basis to help the naval station getting the place cleaned up and to get some order there. Next, he worked with the Naval Station BEQ office to get Rambert Hall declared an alcohol-free barracks. We also established a duty CPO in the barracks to monitor it in the evening hours. The end result of all that was vandalism was decreased to next to nil. I have not had a call in the last year that said anybody broke something, please pay for it. And we have had very few, if any, alcohol-related incidents in the barracks in the last 6 months. It seems to have had the desired effect. I know a lot of people don't like it, but Master Chief Chadwick was one of the people that helped get that off the ground and going. One of the other unpleasant tasks that Master Chief Chadwick had to take on as the barracks birthing liaison was to coordinate birthing for all the FTC staff and students. The first year he had that job when I was here, I don't know if he did, but I certainly got blindsided by what they call portrait mid, where they bring a whole group of midshipmen in, take over one of the barracks halls, which is Donnelly Hall, the one where we have all of our paying students staying, and kick them all out, and the midshipmen stay there for 6 weeks while they're doing their summer training. The first year we worked hard trying to recover from that, trying to get arrangements with having transportation from the local hotels where everybody else was stashed. But those arrangements were kind of flighty at best. It was kind of a real learning curve for myself, and I think it was for Master Chief also. This year, however, it was totally different. Realizing what was going to happen and recognizing what had to be done, Master Chief took it upon himself to coordinate with the barracks people to identify places where we could take all our paying students, actually deny them per diem, and stick them in non-paying barracks rooms. They didn't like getting denied per diem, but it certainly was a lot better, and we had no problems with transportation or people not making it to class on time or anything else because of the job that Master Chief did in convincing the barracks people to go ahead and take that kind of course of action. One other project that Master Chief Chadwick's been involved in for as long as I've been here actually started out 2 commanding officers ago when Captain Beinbrink, one of our previous commanding officers, said, "I'd kind of like some pictures to grace the halls." And apparently Master Chief Chadwick heard that request and decided he was going to take that one on also. Initially started out, he was supposed to be finding historical pictures, people in historical uniforms, historical ships and everything else. He started working on that project, got some older pictures of older ships and everything else. We got a new commanding officer here in August, came in and said, "What's all these old ship pictures doing here? I want new ships. I want the kids to see ships that have been in existence, that are going to be in the fleet while they get out to the fleet, not ships that are historical." So, taking a 180-degree turn, he had to recoup and regroup everything else, go back out there and do the job all over again, and find lots of pictures of ships that are newly commissioned, things that are less than 8 years old, things that will be around for a while. He's taken that project on, went from working with the historical archives of old photographs and stuff like that, and getting the old proofs redeveloped, to modern computer technology, where now they're get everything on a CD-ROM, tell them I want this picture and that picture and that picture printed off the CD, and he's getting those things printed up for us too. His last parting shot, we'll have all new pictures in our halls. Thank you for the work that you've done in trying to improve the quality of life we have here in our homes. Master Chief, I know that your accomplishments here were repeated at each command in which you served. On behalf of the U.S. Navy, I'm privileged to thank you for your outstanding service you have rendered throughout your career. I know the years have gone by all too quickly, but understand and remember that you really have made a difference. All of us join in wishing you and your family the traditional sailor's blessing of fair winds and following seas. It has been a pleasure to have served with you.
Chief Serrata, would you please escort Gloria to the podium? The executive officer will now present a letter of appreciation from the United States Navy. Dear Mrs. Chadwick, on this occasion of your husband's retirement with 30 years of service, we wish also to recognize and pay tribute to you for your efforts in making his beneficial and rewarding career. Without your understanding and support, this goal would have been much more difficult to pursue and achieve. You undoubtedly have had many experiences during your husband's career. Most of them, we hope, you remember with pleasure. You have shared the anticipation of undertaking important and worthwhile assignments and the satisfaction of completing them despite difficult circumstances. While your husband devoted his time to the needs of the service, you devoted your attention to his needs and the needs of your family. Thus, together, you have made a team which has contributed immensely to the success of a larger team, the United States Navy. Gloria Chadwick, I know you are justifiably proud of your husband for the contribution to the Navy and to our country. I want you to know that we are proud of him and you for the role as a Navy wife. I am sure you both have many happy memories and many friendships to cherish. Remember, leaving the active service does not mean leaving these friendships behind. We sincerely hope you will remain a part of the Navy family. Sincerely, C.E. Monroy, Captain, U.S. Navy, Commanding Officer. Master Chief Chadwick will now present a bouquet of flowers to his wife, Gloria. On behalf of Fleet Training Center, please accept these 29 carnations as a symbol of our grateful appreciation for your support during your husband's naval career. Also, the 29 carnation symbolizes the number of years they have been married. Chief Serrata, please escort Gloria back to her seat, please. Master Chief Chadwick will now present a bouquet of flowers to his mother-in-law, Eva Biggs. On behalf of Fleet Training Center, please accept these flowers as a symbol of our grateful appreciation for your support during your son-in-law's naval career. Chief Serrata, please escort Thomas, John, and Eva Maria to the podium. Dear Thomas, John, and Eva Maria, on the occasion of your father's retirement with 30 years of service, we wish to recognize you for your many efforts in making his a beneficial and rewarding career. Without your understanding and support, this goal would have been much more difficult to pursue and achieve. Indeed, your unfailing support can rightly be termed service to our country. You have faced many challenges during your father's career. Much has been asked of you, especially during the prolonged absences of your father when at sea. You have shared in the anguish of family separation while devoting your time to school and extracurricular activities throughout your years. You have more than met the challenge and trials of growing up in spite of the frequent periods when your father was away. Together with your family, you have made a team that has contributed immensely to the success of a larger team, the United States Navy. Thomas, John, Eva Maria, I know you are proud of your father for his contribution to the Navy and our country. I want you to know that we are proud of him and you for your role as Navy sons and daughter. I am sure you all have many happy memories and friendships to cherish. Remember, leaving active service does not mean leaving these friendships behind. We sincerely hope you will remain a part of our Navy family and wish you continued success as you begin this new chapter of your lives. Sincerely, C.E. Monroy, Captain, U.S. Navy, Commanding Officer. Chief Serrata, please escort Thomas, John, and Eva Maria back to their seats, please. Master Chief, will you please stand and join the executive officer? Certificate of Retirement from the Armed Forces of the United States of America. To all who shall see these presents, greetings. This is to certify that Master Chief Petty Officer John Chadwick, USN, having served faithfully and honorably, was retired from the United States Navy on the 3rd day of August, 1998. Signed, D.L. Oliver, Vice Admiral, United States Navy, Chief of Naval Operations, of Naval Personnel. Master Chief Petty Officer Chadwick's naval history and accomplishments. Dear Master Chief Petty Officer Chadwick, on behalf of the Secretary of the Navy, the Chief of Naval Operations, the Chief of Naval Education and Training, and the many shipmates gained throughout your career, I commend and thank you for your 30 years of valued and devoted service to the United States Navy. You have established an excellent record of which you may be proud. You first enlisted as a seaman recruit on 12 September 1968 at Armed Forces Entrance Examination Station, Los Angeles, California, and subsequently progressed to the rank of Master Chief Fire Controlman. And today, you are completing your active naval service, which includes duty in Recruit Training Command, San Diego, California, U.S. Naval Ordnance Missile Test Facility, White Sands Missile Range, New Mexico, 2 tours, USS Chicago, CG-11, USS Long Beach, CGN-9, USS Merrill, DD-976, Fleet Training Center, San Diego, California, 2 tours, Combat Systems Technical School Command, Mare Island, Vallejo, California, USS David R. Ray, DD-971, Fleet Combat Systems Training, United Pacific, San Diego, California, Afloat Training Group Pacific, San Diego, California, and finally Fleet Training Center, San Diego, California. During these years of honorable service, you've earned distinction as an enlisted surface warfare specialist and were awarded the Navy Commendation Medal with 2 gold stars, Navy Achievement Medal with 1 gold star, Combat Action Ribbon, Navy Unit Commendation, Coast Guard Unit Commendation, Navy Meritorious Unit Commendation, 1 bronze star, Coast Guard Meritorious Unit Commendation, Battalion Ribbon with 1 bronze star, Good Conduct Ribbon with 1 silver service star and 2 bronze stars, National Defense Service Medal with 1 bronze star, Vietnam Service Medal with 1 bronze star, Humanitarian Service Medal, Sea Service Deployment Ribbon, 2 bronze stars, and the Republic of Vietnam Campaign Medal. Your reputation is one of dedication and professionalism. Your unswerving commitment to the Navy and to your many achievements are deeply appreciated and will continue to serve as an example and inspiration to those who have worked with you. As you undertake new challenges in the civilian community, your many shipmates and friends here at Fleet Training Center join me in extending to you best wishes for continued success and happiness in the future. Fair winds and following seas. Sincerely, C.E. Monroy, Captain, United States Navy, Commanding Officer. Master Chief Alberta will now present the Shadow Box. The Shadow Box is customarily presented to members upon retirement. It is representative of a sailor's history of military dedication, along struggles towards advancement, awards, and recognition earned and received. The beauty of the Shadow Box always brings back memories to the sailor who receives it. When mounted on the wall, it is a constant reminder of service to his or her country, dedication to duty, and willingness to die for freedom. The detail of the Shadow Box represents a well thought out and executed order given or received, the results of carrying out those orders, victorious, sometimes shadowed by the loss of shipmates striving to achieve the same goals. Within lies the American flag, the symbol of our nation. The flag was displayed above the United States Capitol on 7th day of December 1991 in memory of the 50th anniversary of the bombing of Pearl Harbor. Master Chief Alberto will present the retirement creed from the Chief Petty Officer's Mess. The CPO community takes pleasure in presenting Master Chief Petty Officer John Chadwick the retirement creed. You have on this day experienced that which comes to all of us who serve on active duty in our Navy. I say our Navy because your departure from active duty in no way terminates your relationship. By law and by tradition, U.S. Navy retirees are always on the rolls, ever ready to lend their service when the need arises. The respect that you earn as the Chief was based on the same attributes that you will carry unto retirement. You should have no regrets. Do not view your retirement as an end of an era, but rather than orders to a new and challenging assignment in the form of independent duty. Remember well that you have been and will always be an accepted member of the most exclusive of all fraternities, that of a U.S. Navy Chief Petty Officer. The active duty chiefs salute you. Your retired chiefs welcome you. We wish you a traditional fair winds of following seas. E.A. Alberto, EN's Master Chief, SWAW, Command Master Chief, Fleet Training Center, San Diego. Master Chief Alberto will now present the Command CPO Association plaque. The plaque reads, Fire Controlman Master Chief SW John Chadwick, November 95, August 98, fair winds and following seas. Master Chief, you have the floor.
Quite a day, huh? I thank you all for coming. It's a very emotional day to me, and Lori, my wife, and everyone else here, my kids, my family. It's a lot of memories. In one way, it's a very sad day. 30 years leaving it, moving on. Going to be leaving a lot of friends behind, good friends. But we'll stay in touch with some of us, obviously. We all know how it works. A lot of memories, and 30 years worth that I'll never forget. These memories will always be there. You just can't forget about being up on the PMTC at old 500 out there getting ready for a missile shoot. And when that missile takes off, there's, believe me, for you folks that have never been there, there's no better feeling in the world than that missile he's over there. It's, you just can't explain it. You gotta be there. In a way, it's also a scary day because you don't know what's ahead of you exactly. You think you know, but there's going to be little roadblocks that can come along and jump up there. So you just don't have that job security that we've had for the last 30 years. It just isn't going to be there anymore. And again, it's also a happy day because, like I said, we're going to be moving on to other adventures and other things. I'll be with Gloria all the time now. Won't be on these duty nights, although I haven't had many of those lately. But 30 years, I've had quite a few, and West Packs and all that. So it's plus with the kids, and, my new granddaughter, and new family that I've through the years and so forth recently. But yeah, it's looking forward to it. EXO, I want to thank you for all the kind words and being here this morning for me. Gunner Terrell, you got one of the two hardest jobs of the ceremony. Thank you very much for doing this for me, volunteering. You're doing an excellent job, by the way. And 15 years ago, yeah, I mean, people running up and down passageway. We all know how schools are. You see people, but you don't really realize, anything about it. But thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Chief Sherrod, you got the other part of the half of this thing, put the thing on. It's an outstanding ceremony, and I really, really appreciate it. You put a lot of time and effort to it. Thank you very much. And for the other guys of Harpoon VLS building, division, thank you for your time and effort helping Chief Sherrod out. And from the heart, Governor Lowry would also agree with this, I'm sure. I've seen a lot of divisions since I've been here with all these little projects that the XO was talking about. I've dealt with just about every division in the command. And if VLS Harpoon isn't the finest, it's right up there with them. So thank you for passing that division over to me. It's in good shape when I got it. But thank you, Ben. Let's see here, keep on going. Friends and family, yes, there's a lot of friends and family that are here today. Stuart and Carol came all the way from Utah. Thank you much. Understand, Stuart. Jim and Liz all the way from the Great Lakes. I'm glad you all could make it. And I know I'll be leaving some people out here, but a lot of local friends that have come, and I'm just glad that every one of you could make it. It's just like I said, it's a special day, but the world's nothing without friends. That's you play a big part of my life. You really do, and I'm glad you're here. Lori and Betty, now part of my life. And you and your family is, and it means a lot to me that you all are part of my life. Mine and Gloria's, and my kids. Got a wonderful granddaughter who obviously is having fun. But that's what it's all about, having fun today. And thank you guys. I love you all. I really do. I know Gloria does too. I'll just say that for you. Got a lot of brothers and sisters. Most people call them brother-in-laws and sister-in-laws, but Gloria's the oldest of 10. And being I'm married the oldest of 10, I've seen a lot of them growing up. And I've seen a lot of their kids growing up. And we've had a lot of good times together these 29 plus years. And I'm glad 6 of the 10 of them were able to make it down, coming from various parts of California. I'm glad y'all could make it, every one of you. And I'm glad you could be there and help growing out through the years when, we all need help at times, and we all were there, and I appreciate that. Bottom line. Mom, I can't say enough about you. I say you're my mother-in-law, but you're my mom. It's just that simple. I love you, just like everybody else in the family. And you've always been there for us. And I'm really lucky. Most people hear stories about their mother-in-laws and so forth. Well, I don't have that either. It's not the case. I was very fortunate to marry Gloria to have not just a good mother, but a darn good father. He wasn't able to be here, but I know everything he's thinking about. So thank you, Mom. Pete, Barb, and Yvonne, glad you can make it over. Glad we're able to schedule this time when you guys can be here. That's their, my uncle, aunt and uncle from Germany. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. Kids, Tom, John, and you and Maria, I call you all the time. I know there's times I wasn't able to be there, but that's all part of the Navy. We knew that. But my mother did a hell of a job raising when I wasn't around, and I tell you, I'm proud of all 3 of you. All 3 of you grown up to be wonderful kids. I couldn't ask for better kids. I just can't stress enough of it. You're all so special to me, and you always will be now treating my kids. But thank you for helping Mom out when she needed you to. Right? I love you all. All right. And then we got Gloria. The whole world rotates around Gloria, and always has, and always will. I hate to see where I'd be at today. I know I have some ideas where I'd be at today, but I sure wouldn't be standing up here without her in my life. Some things would have happened, I'm sure, that would have prevented me from being here right now. But I love you so much, and Oh, God. Don't you ever forget that. Thank you, sweetie, for being raising our kids and everything else. I just want to say thanks to everybody for showing up today. I know I'm doing a lot of thank you, but there's a lot of people I want to thank. It's just 30 years, a long time, and you just don't make it without people there to help you through the years. Be there and support each other. So I'm going to miss it, but I'm looking forward to moving on. We're going to set it up.
Will all please rise for the benediction and remain standing for the remainder of the ceremony. Chaplain Wilson will now deliver the benediction.
O eternal Father, who is strong and able, who does save, protect, and defend, we now ask for your benediction to rest upon us, as you have graciously preserved our nation through the years and have led us in wondrous ways. We ask now for your richest blessing upon Master Chief Chadwick and his family. And as we leave this place, O Lord, we pray that you may be ever with him to strengthen him, about him, keeping him in your tender care, above him to protect him, beneath him to uphold him. May you go before him to direct his pathway, and round about him and his family, blessing them always with fair winds and following seas. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain. Aye, mates, for many years this man stood the watch. While some of us lay about our bunks at night, this sailor stood the watch. While others of us were attending schools, this sailor stood the watch. And yes, even before many of us were born, this sailor stood the watch. As our families watched the storm clouds of war brewing on the horizons of history, this shipmate stood the watch. Many times he would cast an eye ashore and see his family standing there, needing his guidance and help, needing that hand to hold during the hard times. But he stood the watch. He stood the watch for 30 years. He stood the watch so that we could sleep soundly in safety, knowing that a sailor stood the watch. Today we are here to say, shipmate, the watch stands relieved. Relieved by those you have trained, guided, and led. Petty Officer Swanky, front and center. Relieve the watch.
Ready to relieve the watch. I relieve you. Assume the watch.
Master Chief Petty Officer Chadwick, are you ready to go ashore? Bosun, post aside, boys. Navy family, retiring. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the retirement ceremony for Master Chief Chadwick. On behalf of the Commanding Officer, Fleet Training Center, San Diego, and Master Chief Chadwick, thank you for attending today's ceremony. please join Master Chief Chadwick, retired, at the reception in building 3382 Lounge. Fleet Training Center, dismissed.
Best of luck.
Congratulations, John.
You're next, the next step.
They've had you there.
As what?
As soon as I came in. Hey, how you doing?
Lee is. Then I'm right behind you. A week from Wednesday.
Can I get a diaper for the baby? Can I get the keys to the car so I can get the diaper for the baby?
Yeah,
Huh? I need to get a diaper.
you want to pee?
Yes.
Where?
Okay. It's in
In the back?
a diaper bag, this color, in the back part. Just one diaper, yeah.
So I better go.
It'll go. I just don't have the seats. I have 85 That's not anything.
Well, God bless you. And I wish
Thank you so much. I hope I gave you that message. I saw you out there. Yeah. Okay, sounds my wife,
I don't know building numbers around. I know what it is. I don't know what the number is. I was wondering.
I don't, as far as I know, we'll be in town.
Okay.
And I'll be here if some reason you can leave.
That's okay.
I
understand.
Okay.
Friday at 10.
Yeah.
Almost next.
Two chairs together, no, this is not why I asked.
Say again? Did I what? Well, I'm still working on it. Hold it, picture of baby.
She's not bopping around.
She's busy.
Playing Beltway band.
We can start walking over there.
Oh, it did.
Thank you.